The house that ate the equity. 1. The trap of the white picket fence. Ethan and Sarah Hawthorne had bought their slice of the American dream, a sprawling two-story colonial in the suburbs of Austin, Texas. It had a big yard, a 3-car garage, and a mortgage that eclipsed the gross domestic product of a small country. They had stretched themselves thin, using every dime of their savings for the down payment. Ethan, a software engineer, worked 80-hour weeks, fueled by lukewarm coffee and the constant vibrating anxiety of the payment due date. Sarah, a freelance graphic designer, watched her clients disappear one by one, replaced by cheaper AI alternatives. The house was beautiful, but it was also a financial chokehold. The horror wasn't a ghost in the attic, it was the red digital numbers on Ethan's bank app. The first subtle signs of the rot appeared 6 months in, after Ethan had taken out a home equity line of credit, HELOC, just to cover a massive unexpected plumbing repair. 2. The sound of empty space. It started with the sound. The house was designed with an open floor plan, great for entertaining, but now it felt like the space itself was expanding. Ethan would be in the kitchen, and Sarah would call from the master bedroom, "Did you just say something?" "No, I'm downstairs," he'd reply. But they both knew they had heard a whisper of movement, a heavy, dragging sound, as if an enormous, slow object was being pulled across the upstairs carpet. But the upstairs was empty. Their daughter, Leela, stopped playing in her room. She'd sit stiffly on the living room sofa, clutching a threadbare blanket. When asked why, she'd stare at the ceiling with wide, terrified eyes. "The house is hungry, Daddy," she finally whispered one night. "It keeps swallowing the colors." And she was right. Sarah noticed the vivid teal paint she had chosen for the dining room was now a faded, dusty gray, completely lifeless. The rich, dark wood of the floorboards looked bleached and brittle, resistant to polish or stain. The house wasn't aging, it was draining. 3. The appraisal. The critical moment came when Ethan's company downsized, leaving him with 3 weeks of severance and the immediate, crippling panic of the next mortgage payment. He called a professional appraiser, Mr. Jenkins, hoping to prove the home's value had risen. Mr. Jenkins arrived, a tired professional man with a neat tie. He spent an hour walking the rooms, clicking his camera, but his expression grew increasingly perplexed. Finally, he stood in the empty living room, tapping his pen on his clipboard. "Mr. Hawthorne," he began, his voice dry. I can't find the square footage." "What do you mean?" Ethan demanded. "It's 3,200 square feet. It's right here on the original deed." "The dimensions are correct," Mr. Jenkins insisted, "but the space, it feels smaller. The walls feel thicker. Look here," he pointed to a corner. "This room should feel open, but it feels like the walls are pushing back. The value, sir, is below zero." That night, Ethan sat with Sarah, trying to rationalize the number. Below zero. It wasn't just worth nothing, it owed them money to exist. 4. The thing in the garage. Driven by desperation, Ethan went into the garage to look for tools to fix a cracked window that had suddenly appeared. He wasn't looking for a burglar, the glass was cracked from the inside out. In the back of the garage, where the unused gym equipment and moving boxes were stacked, he saw a dark, oily stain on the concrete floor. It looked like ancient motor oil, but it was spreading slowly, wetly, and purposefully. He knelt down, shining his phone light on it. The stain wasn't oil, it was compressed dollar bills soaked in sewage black water. Thousands of dollars, reduced to a black, heavy sludge. As he watched, the stain began to bubble. And then, a sound came from inside the wet sludge, the slow, sucking sound of paper dissolving. He jumped back. The bubbling sludge began to take a shape, not a monster, but a form made entirely of wet, compact cellulose and rusted metal. It resembled a safe deposit box, but it had no lock. A voice, low and gravelly, like gravel tumbling down a dry well, echoed in his mind. It wasn't spoken, it was a direct transmission of despair. "You took from the house. Now the house takes the principal. It takes your collateral." 5. The final payment. Ethan ran back inside to find Sarah. She was standing by the dining room table, staring at the walls, which were now a uniform, oppressive gray. "Sarah, we have to go. Now. The house is alive, and it's eating our equity. It's eating the money, the life, everything we put into it." Sarah slowly turned around. Her eyes were empty, not with fear, but with a horrifying acceptance. "It's too late, Ethan," she said, her voice flat, devoid of emotion. "It's already taken the collateral." She pointed to her own skin. Her arms, her face, her hands, the vibrant human color was draining away, replaced by the same dusty, lifeless gray as the dining room walls. Her hair was losing its texture, becoming brittle, like dried-out drywall. Her identity, her personality, the vibrant life force that makes a person them, was being pulled out, replaced by the cold, hollow material of the defaulted loan. Ethan lunged for her, but his hand went right through her shoulder. There was no flesh, only the cold resistance of concrete dust and a faint electrical hum. His wife was gone. The house had claimed her as material collateral for the HELOC. He heard a high, frantic scream, "Leela." He raced upstairs to his daughter's room. She was huddled in the corner, sobbing, pointing to the walls. The entire nursery, every single item, the soft stuffed animals, the colorful books, the crib, was solidifying into the same grey textureless composite. The items still looked like toys, but they were now hard, heavy and cold, like they had been forged from the house's foundation. Leela looked up at him, her face a mask of terror. "Daddy, it's coming for the time now. It needs more time to cover the debt." Ethan didn't wait. He snatched Lila and ran out the front door, slamming it shut behind them. He stood on the perfectly manicured lawn, breathing heavily, holding his daughter tight. He looked back at his beautiful two-story colonial. It looked utterly normal, except for the sickly uniform grey that now coated every visible surface. He heard a faint, familiar noise from inside, the slow, steady sound of a clock ticking, counting the hours, minutes and seconds, not of life, but of a never-ending interest rate. The house didn't want their souls. It just wanted payment. And for an unpayable debt, the only true collateral is everything you are.